I recently dredged the remnants of my youth, an old leftover toy box from my parents' house, and it has bits and pieces of everything. Transformers, He-Man, Zoids, Turtles, Ghostbusters, Madballs, Bravestar, just to name a few. It's a who's who of leftover memories. I've spent some time not only getting some of the parts back into the hands of collectors to finish off their toys, but also rebuying and completing a few from my childhood. I didn't have many outside of one or two from the odd cartoon, so my collection is weird and sporadic. Anyway, this led my continued midlife crisis to go back and watch old cartoons. Mask, Visionaries, Battletech, Dungeons and Dragons, Cities of Gold, everything I could think of, I'm gonna watch. Which brings me to Transformers. Hasbro has them all up on YouTube, so why not chip away at them? I vaguely recall them, outside of the movie which is etched into my mind as childhood trauma should be. So it was time to get back into the camp, weird world of robots in disguise that aren't very good at hiding. I get to an episode called Dinobot Island, Part 1. The Autobots are being their standard passive-aggressive selves, complaining about the Dinobots. Wheeljack declares they're well-trained, asks Blaster to play some music. I'm not sure why, but why not? It's the MacGuffin of this video, so shush. Grimlock shoots Blaster with his laser breath. I think the whole point was so he could press play with it. Anyway, the Autobots go on a one frame of animation paddy as they hate the music. The rest of the Dinobots join in. Clumsy dumb fumbles ensue. It all goes comedy wrong. Right, copyright doom aside on this video, pay attention to the music.
Sludge not know. Maybe time to do our thing.
So this track got me thinking, just where have I heard it before? Time passes, I forget all about it. I'm a massive video game music fan. I buy vinyls of it like an edgelord, I support artists on Bandcamp, all the good stuff when I can. So when a song from an album pops onto my shuffle that I hadn't heard in a while, it just clicked. Step forward, Too Mellow and the album Memories of Tokyo To from 2018. Now, looking at the artwork, you wouldn't be remiss in thinking that this was part of the Jet Set Radio universe. And it is 100% an ode to the Dreamcast must-play game with its funky style, positive energy beats. Hell, even Too Mellow states on his Bandcamp, Memories of Tokyo To is a dedication to the music and style of the Jet Set Radio series of games. The soundtrack's vibrant, hip-hop inspired attitude has entertained me for over half of my life, and I'm finally giving back. I think that this album is the most true to myself I've been since I started making music, and I hope that you enjoy listening to it as much as I have enjoyed making it. So, how do we link Transformers to Jet Set Radio? Track 8, 24-Hour Party People. Check it out right from the start.
Party people don't sleep, don't drink, don't eat like we do. I'll leave you be if you leave me be too, but I can't see you when you need to.
And here's the Transformers version.
Sludge not know. Maybe time to do our thing.
The Too Mellow track is absolutely inspired by the music going all the way back to a 1985 cartoon. Looking at the Transformers credits, we can see a music editor by the name of Joe Siracusa. A quick scan on IMDb for Joe, and it reveals that the guy was cartoon royalty. G.I. Joe, Dungeons and Dragons, Mr. Magoo, Pink Panther, he did it all. Not listed on the Transformers credits on this episode, though, are two composers, Robert J. Walsh and Johnny Douglas. Looking at their IMDb records, they worked on many of the same shows as Joe as composers, so you can safely attribute this music to them. I reached out to YouTuber Chris McFeely and his channel Transformers The Basics, who noted that we generally believe it to be Johnny Douglas's work. A fair assumption, as these guys between them worked on everything. A YouTube channel called Entronus Nexus has the track called The Autobot, so we can give it a name, which is the same track and does indeed attribute Douglas and Walsh. Campy 1981 Spider-Man also caught my eye as I'd previously watched them as a kid, despite remembering it to be a bit rubbish. Episode 7, The Pied Piper of New York Town, which sees our web-slinging hero going up against long-suffering foe Mysterio. He's using a very familiar music sample to mind control the population to do his bidding. Who'd sign the deeds for a supervillain to own a nightclub anyway? Whatever, here's the track. sounds a little familiar, doesn't it? It plays throughout a good chunk of this episode, and now we have the song dated back to 1981. So now we have Transformers, Jet Set Radio, and Spider-Man all connected through one legendary music track spanning 4 decades. I'm not satisfied though. I'd love to know where else this has been sampled and used. I know it was also used in G.I. Joe of the same 80s era, also credited to Walsh and Douglas, but I never watched Action Force as a kid. It wasn't something I was interested in. I ran the Spider-Man sound through Google Assistant, which led me down another path, but very much keeping in with hip-hop roots like Too Mellow. AC, the program director, has an original track called Chop Formers, released in 2022. My brain thinking chop, Transformers, surely. I contacted them and had an insightful conversation about hip-hop and sampling. Sadly, no new information arose aside from a cool new group to follow. If anyone has any information on the music track in question, please reach out. I'd love to learn more. In the meantime, all respect to originators and their art, and until all are one. A huge thank you to everyone I reached out to. Check the description for all links.